PYX 106, Quinn and Cantera, 1-800-LAW-1010, 1-800-LAW-1010.com.
Normally we talk to Paul Harding from Martin Harding and Mazzotti, but Paul's off today. It's Chaz Farcher pinch hitting. Where's Paul, Chaz?
I have no idea. That's a great question. He's probably out doing what needs to be done to keep the business moving.
Doing what needs to be done.
It's that kind of answer
really...
that keeps you employed, buddy.
Right.
Keeps the phones ringing.
Well, we got a good story today, and this nursing home down in Long Island, some guy hired a male stripper for his like 80-plus-year-old grandmother, and hilarity ensued.
Well, I think if I read it right, some of the other
people
residents there are pissed, and like to the point where there's like a lawsuit happening, right, Chaz?
Yeah, what actually happened was it was actually the staff of the retirement home that okayed and actually paid for the male stripper to come in, and then one of the residents' young son came to visit his 86-year-old mother and found a picture of her involved in some indiscreet activities.
Well, here's the thing. They're adults. These are adults. They're old people, but they're adults. So, tell the son to go screw. If their grandmother or grandfather wants to see a naked person, shouldn't they be able to do that?
Well, I would think so. You or either that or I don't want to end up in a retirement home where that can't happen. But, what you got to understand, too, is you're talking about people with limited mental capacity. And, there are other areas of the law where we recognize the same thing, inability to consent to such kind of sexual contact. When you're talking about minors, the law says you don't have the mental capacity.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Now, hold on a second, goddammit, because I'm an American, and I plan on living to be 95 years old. And who's to judge my mental capacity? And was this woman's mental capacity? You know me, I don't read the whole story. Was Bernice Youngblood, was 86-year-old Bernice Youngblood's mental capacity, was it not completely there?
Well, that's what her son alleges. He alleges that she's a 3-time stroke survivor. She's 86 years old, and that she's been admitted to this place partially because she has the beginning stages of dementia.
4-time stroke survivor if you count the lap dance.
Stroke humor.
When I read the article, I thought it was just another weekend at Quinn's house. I was surprised. I didn't realize it was going to be a lawsuit.
Oh, yeah.
Did the old lady have a problem, or was it just her son, and does her son see money? I mean, is there a real lawsuit here, Chaz?
Here's the thing, at the time it doesn't appear that she had a problem because the photos that surfaced were photos of her stuffing dollar bills in the guy's pants. So it seems that she was okay with it.
She wasn't depositing
the
at
argument
the ATM.
is that she didn't have the mental capacity to not have an okay time with it, just like if you had a 15-year-old boy or girl in an adult sexual situation. They may not have seemed like they had a problem with it, but there's not enough mental capacity to not have a problem.
Not only should this not be a problem, this should be effing mandatory. It must get so boring in those places.
They have video games now.
Yeah, I guess.
You would hope there's a screening process, right? When you go into a retirement home, that this is on the list of activities. Otherwise, you want out.
Get a note from your son to be able to play in those activities or something. I don't know.
We have other laws, though, that, we have something called Cappy's Law in New York State that protects the welfare of elderly or disabled people in these types of homes, from, their moral. It's essentially the same as an endangering the welfare of a child charge, because when you get someone who's in their 80s or 90s, you could potentially be dealing with someone who has the mental capacity of a child or that.
Get out of my government pants.
So what?
Or pants government.
What's next, really? What happens here? What's next?
Well, the lawsuit will move forward. Do I think it's a great case? I don't. I think what it's going to come down to is what they can prove or not prove with regarding Miss Youngblood's mental state. At the time of the incident, currently in the recent past, is she really not all there? Is she all there? Apparently, there is an activities committee at this retirement home. They actually voted on this activity and paid for it.
I bet there was. Was it like a big black guy with a giant dong or something?
No,
I mean, was there race involved?
In doing the legitimate research that needed to be done, I had to go through some of the photos as well as some of the complaints. The guy appears to be a bulky Italian male.
Bulky Italian male. Equally as disturbing if you're an old lady, maybe. I don't know. Unless you're from the old country.
The photos that surfaced were her putting money in his pants. So at the time it occurred, it seems that she was a willing participant. But that's not to say, again, she actually had the mental capacity to do so.
All right, I know you're dancing on thin ice with us here this morning.
Chaz Farcher in for Paul Harding.
Lap dancing on thin ice.
1-800-LAW-1010.com. Did you go for a run this morning?
Not this morning. Last night I tried to go in, but as you can tell, I'm fighting a cold. So I don't know if it's the beginning stages of pneumonia. It keeps me limited.
Be careful, all right? I follow him on Facebook. He's always taking these beautiful country jogs.
Yeah, he lives
You
out
live
there.
in God's country out there. It's a
Yeah.
good place.
Well,
man.
that's because my wife runs the house and I have a young son, so it's the only way I stay sane. You should know what I'm talking
I know.
about.
That's why I'm at work 12 hours a day. It's the quietest
Oh, you
place.
too. I feel bad
It's-
for you.
No, don't feel bad for me.
Okay.
It's a small vacation. It really is.
Getting called back into work at Sunday 4 in the morning. Time to go.
You gotta go. Sorry. Thanks so much, Chaz.
1-800-LAW-1010, 1-800-LAW-1010.com.
Have a great day,
Chaz
guys.
Farcher. There he goes. It's PYX 106.
Quinn and Cantera. Mornings on PYX 106.